Revenge films.
I'm a 27-year-old woman, married to my husband for a few years now and have a part-time job. I was having a hard time with an unwelcome occasional visitor to our apartment. It's my sister-in-law. She lived alone after a failed marriage. She had an affair and her husband divorced her. But my husband was too easy on her. She would show up at our place just as I came home after work. Even though I was tired after a full day of work, she would beg me to take her to the grocery store. But those few hours after work were my only chance to finish the household chores I had left in the morning. But my husband said,
"What's the big deal about taking her to a store? Why can't ya?"
But the thing is that wasn't just grocery shopping. She would toss anything she wanted into my cart, saying, "I'll pay you back later, thanks." Later, when I brought it up, she said, "I already paid it back to my brother." I would check his wallet daily for my personal finance record keeping, and I never found the evidence.
"Sure, she paid it back to me."
He would lie to my face like this. Why do you lie to me? You know I check your wallet every day. I never saw it.
"I spent it, I just forgot to tell you."
Can I see the receipt then?
Are you saying I'm lying? Besides, what kind of person are you to demand every cent from your sister-in-law?
He made me the bad guy. Then my sister-in-law's behavior escalated. I couldn't help but noticing things were missing from our place. At first it was the laundry detergent refill, and then it was the bulk-size beef I bought at Costco. There was no one else to steal it but her. I had to tell this to my husband. I hate to tell you this, but your sister takes things from the fridge. Can't you ask her about it?
You must be mistaken.
No, I'm not. Things just don't disappear. There are only 3 people who use this place freely. You, me, and your sister.
You are making this up and calling my sister a thief!
Since this habit of hers started, I've been having a harder time making ends meet. My husband didn't listen to me at all, and he would forgive his sister no matter what she did, and he blamed it on me.
You haven't prepared decent meals for me lately. Do you call this a dinner?
Why don't you complain to your sister instead of me? Since she keeps taking things from the fridge, I have to buy the same thing twice. How can I stay on budget?
Listen to yourself. If you can't manage the budget, it's your fault, not my sister's. You're a disgrace.
He wouldn't listen to me or believe me. How can I show him the proof? But I couldn't come up with any idea. One day I came home from work to find my sister-in-law at the doorstep, just locking the door. Are you about to leave? That's right. How come you have a key to our home? My brother gave me a copy. He said I could come in anytime I wanted. I couldn't believe it. It's like saying she's welcome to take anything she wants. I noticed her bag was full. It was very suspicious, so I had to ask her if I could see the inside of it. Then she said, "How come I have to show you the inside of my bag? The answer is no. Things have gone missing from our place, and I think you know why. I have the right to check your bag." Then she panicked and pushed me down and left. I fell on the ground and sprained my wrist. When my husband came home, I was going to tell him what had happened, but he was already in a very bad mood.
My sister texted me. She said you demanded to check her purse. She said that you treated her like a thief.
Wait a minute. I asked her to let me see the inside of her bag because it was so full, and then she pushed me to the ground. See, I have a sprained wrist.
That's your fault, not hers.
I was outraged by this. My sister-in-law hurt me, and my husband doesn't seem to care at all. Then I found something missing from my closet. I looked for it and found it exactly where I had in mind, on her social media. I asked my husband and his sister to meet with me. What do you want? I have to be somewhere. I know you took stuff. And I know you took my clothes from my closet. I don't know what you're talking about. Then look at this. This is you wearing my clothes on your social media. Did you buy it recently? That's right. You cannot buy this. It's not for sale. What? You're lying. No, I'm not. This is the dress my niece made for me when she studied at a fashion institute. There is only one in the world. By the way, this is her Instagram. When I showed it to her, I saw her face went pale.
Why do you have to accuse her like that? Besides, it looks better on her than you. I don't want you here anymore. Get out!
And then he grinned.
But I know you'll be back. You can't afford to live by yourself with your part-time wage. Then you'll have to apologize to me. You might as well apologize to her now.
Looking pale just a minute ago, my sister-in-law changed her attitude. He's right, I didn't do anything wrong, but if you apologize to me now, I may be able to forgive you. That's not necessary. There's no point in staying with him, who was never on my side. I'm filing for a divorce. By the way, I'm planning a startup soon, so don't worry about me.
Huh? What are you saying?
My niece graduated from the institute, but she was in demand for her style and quality even when she was a student. She has plenty of orders already, and she asked me if I was interested in starting a business with her, and I said yes.
What? You never told me any of this!
You would never listen to me anyway. Your family was all that mattered to you. And that's not my concern anymore now that I'm filing for a divorce. Here are the papers.
What? You already prepared for this?
Yes, I can't live in a place where a thief has a spare key. You'll hear about the alimony from my attorney later.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Why don't you and I start that business?
That's a great idea. You will need a model and I can be one. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Sorry, but I am not going to hire you two. I can't sleep at night not knowing what you're going to steal. Besides, my parents are going to help with the startup funds. I have no reason to be with you. Goodbye.
Hey, wait a minute! I'm your husband! You have to forgive your husband!
He kept whining for a while, but knowing my parents backed me up for real, agreed to the divorce quietly. I also received comfortable compensation. I told some of my neighbors the reasons why I was moving out, and before I knew it, the whole block knew about the way my husband treated me. That somehow spread to his workplace, and he ended up feeling embarrassed at work too. As for my sister-in-law, she was broke and tried to find a part-time job, but word of her kleptomania spread more than she could imagine. It wasn't successful. Few companies were willing to risk having their employees steal from them. She well deserves it.
My name is Jonathan Smith. I'm a 24-year-old salaryman working full-time. I met my girlfriend Sarah at a company event and we hit it off straight away. We dated for about 1 year and we recently got married. Sarah's parents are both really great people and they're easy to get along with. I have a great relationship with them. Work was also steady and I had nothing to complain about. Or so I thought. But there was actually one problem. My wife had a best friend named Ashley who was quite the pain. Ashley was my wife's best friend, and I had met her a number of times before we got married as well. And at that time, Sarah had said to me,
Ashley and I have been together ever since we were in preschool, all the way until we graduated from college. We were side by side for more than 15 years together.
She said that to me like she was bragging about their friendship, and I thought it was really sweet at the time. When I first met her, my first impression of Ashley was not that bad, other than the fact that she complained about her parents a lot. But I first started being bothered by my wife's best friend's words and actions around the time after we got married and we started living together in our own house. Ashley didn't have a job, nor was she trying to get one, and she also wasn't married. So every single time she would get into a fight with her parents, she started rolling into our house.
My stupid dad said that I need to get to work. We got into a huge fight.
Or she would always say things like,
That old hag told me that I need to hurry up and get married, and I got super pissed off and yelled at her.
It was always the same story, and she would barge into our house late at night out of nowhere. I have work early tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna head to bed first. I would try to say that and go to sleep, but then she would demand that I need to sit down and listen to her. And then even if I tried to still say no and go to bed, I would look over at my wife and she would have a stern look on her face.
Don't you understand that Ashley is having a really hard time right now? So, Jonathan, you should listen to her concerns with me, and we need to help her come up with a solution.
And when my wife would say that to me, I felt like I had no choice but to stay. Even if I knew that it was going to affect my work the next day, I had to sit there and listen to Ashley go on her rant. However, Ashley wasn't actually having a hard time. I could only believe that she was coming over because she wanted to rant about her parents. To be honest, I couldn't believe that she would say things to her own parents like,
"Just hurry up and die."
Or,
"Just leave the inheritance and get lost."
she was the type of person to say things like that, so I didn't believe the stories that she told us. On top of that, this troublesome woman would say things like,
"Everybody cheats, it's totally normal."
or,
"You should be seeing multiple guys at once and keep multiple guys around you. That's what a smart woman would do."
she was the type to say things like that, like it was actually normal. And the fact that my wife was accepting somebody like that as her best friend in the world made me start to question my own wife's personality. But then, one evening, late at night, in the living room of my house, I had reached my limit, and so I finally interrupted their conversation. "Look, even if you may be the best friends in the world, don't you think it's wrong to barge into somebody else's house in the middle of the night and then just trash talk your parents and say horrible things about them? Not only that, but it's all the time that you do this." The moment that I said that, I could feel the air in the room completely freeze over. It wasn't just Ashley, but even my wife had a look on her face like I was saying something unbelievable.
Why are you speaking like you understand anything? What do you know about me and Sarah's friendship? Sarah isn't just somebody else. She's my best friend in the world.
And then my wife continued on and was yelling at me as well.
That's right, that's right. And Ashley is going out of her way to come and try and lean on my shoulder as her best friend. How can you say something so awful? I didn't know that you were such a cold-hearted person, Jonathan.
When my wife called me cold-hearted, to be honest, it was shocking. It hurt. But right now I was in a situation where it was 2 against 1, and for a brief moment I felt weak and started to think that maybe I was the one that was saying something wrong and that I wasn't understanding. No, there's no way that that's the case. It's ridiculous that a best friend would barge into a newlywed household like this all the time. But even still, because she was my wife's best friend, I didn't try to push it any further, and I left them alone for that day. But then, this time, they started to get excited talking about cheating and extramarital affairs. I really hope that my wife doesn't become affected by the influence of this insane woman. One day, when we finally had the day off together, I was watching the news about a celebrity affair, and without thinking too much about it, I spoke with my wife. "Hey, Sarah, what do you think about guys like this that cheat on their wives and have affairs?"
I think they're the worst, the enemy of women everywhere.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think about Ashley and how she keeps multiple married guys? That's basically the same thing as having an affair, isn't it?
Excuse me? What does that have to do with anything? Ashley is different. Ashley isn't working right now, and she doesn't have a steady source of income, so she's physically and mentally weak right now. And that's why she has no choice but to keep multiple men to support her. She's only doing it because she has to.
I see.
And then when she was looking around for a guy that had financial strength, it just so happens that most of them were married men.
But still, don't you think that what she's doing is the same thing?
It's totally different. Why don't you understand, Jonathan? If you're doing it in the name of self-defense or to protect yourself, then even violence is accepted by the law.
It was a ridiculous justification. And to me, her fury didn't seem like it was coming out of a place of defending her best friend, but more so because I had hit the nail on the head. Wait a minute. Now that I think about it, is Sarah... Could she be having an affair? I decided to go straight to a detective agency and do some research, and I instantly found out that my wife was indeed having an affair. And then, immediately after that, I was called out to a cafe with both Ashley and Sarah.
Hey you, Jonathan, is it true you were trying to trash talk me behind my back?
When Ashley said that, I twisted my neck towards her. Talking trash? What are you talking about?
Don't try and act dumb. I heard that you were complaining about my relationships with men. Can't you see? Because you were talking trash about me, you made Sarah super mad and upset her.
When I looked over at my wife, she was holding a handkerchief to her dry eyes.
How awful. How can you talk about my best friend in the world, Ashley, like that?
Excuse me? We were just having a conversation and you're the one that said people who cheat are the worst. Isn't that right? If you think that that was me talking trash about your best friend Ashley, then maybe it's because you yourself realize that she's the worst. All of the frustration that was bottled up inside of me exploded all over them. And for a moment the two of them looked shocked because they probably weren't expecting me to fight back. However, they immediately lost their tempers.
Excuse me? What the hell is your problem? Even though you've only known Sarah for just over 1 year, I've been by her side for more than 15 years now. And are you trying to pick a fight with me? Do you know what's gonna happen to you? Jonathan, this is awful. I hate you. I hate you, Jonathan. I want to be together with somebody who's also going to love my best friend because she's like the same person as me. You're not worthy of Sarah. You're not worthy of a girl as amazing as Sarah. So you better hurry up and get a divorce. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Ashley said that like she was threatening me, but then Sarah joined in.
As long as you don't get down on your knees and apologize to Ashley, then I'm going to be leaving you.
And my wife jumped right on board. Is that so? Well then, all right, I understand. Let's get a divorce. I bluntly replied to her.
What? You're joking, right? Are you sure you're okay with us breaking up? You do know that means we're getting a divorce?
My wife started to panic, and Ashley froze on the spot like she was shocked by my reaction. And then I did exactly as I said, and I got a divorce from my wife. And with the evidence that I got from the detective agency's investigation in hand, I collected a settlement fee of $30,000 from my ex-wife for her extramarital affair. And of course, I collected the same from her boyfriend as well, right around the same time. For all of the affairs that Ashley had had with married men over the years, they were all discovered at once, and she was sued from multiple directions. I heard that the total came close to $100,000 that she had to pay. In the beginning, apparently the two best friends moved into an apartment together and became roommates, but that relationship didn't even last for 1 month. Ashley borrowed thousands of dollars from my ex-wife, but then one day in the middle of the night, she disappeared with that money. Of course, without paying 1 cent back to her best friend, that was my ex-wife. 1 month later, I got a knock on the door, and it was my ex-wife. She came to my house and got down on her knees to apologize.
Please, Jonathan, please spare me of this settlement fee. Right now, I'm in debt. I'm in debt of almost $60,000.
Wait a minute, but how is that possible? I only sued you for $30,000. Even if you were also sued by the wife of the man you were having the affair with, that's way too much, isn't it? And also, why did you come here today by yourself? What happened to your best friend that you're always side by side with? Aren't you always with Ashley? I nonchalantly threw all of those questions at her, knowing the answer, and my ex-wife sat there with her face bright red.
That piece of crap witch, she borrowed thousands of dollars from me, but not only that, I was fronting the rent and all of the expenses for our apartment, but she didn't pay for anything and she disappeared. She took the money and she ran away.
Hearing my ex-wife angrily talk about Ashley like this did make me feel a little bit better. No matter what happened, she was always using the reason that Ashley was her best friend to defend her, and it had been irritating me for all that time.
Jonathan, please forgive me. I only had the affair because I was brainwashed by that woman. I never had any intention of actually cheating on you, so please, will you please marry me again?
No thanks.
Look, there's nobody else that I can rely on besides you, Jonathan. And that horrible woman, I can't even get a hold of her. I have no idea where she is.
Well, isn't that good for you? You were finally freed of the delusion of your best friend, because no matter how you looked at her, she was horrible. And then I kicked my ex-wife out of my house. Even after that, I heard the two people who were always claiming to be the best of friends have been living separate lives. As for my ex-wife, in order to pay back her debt, she moved into a run-down apartment and is having to work multiple jobs. And with Ashley, because she's living a life on the run after borrowing thousands of dollars from her best friend Sarah and then sacking her, I can only imagine that she is living a miserable life in terror with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I'm just an average guy working a regular office job, living with my wife in our apartment. People often tell me I have a baby face, but I'm almost 30, so I guess I'm officially an adult now. Anyway, this is the story of something that happened to me. That day, I had the day off from work, so I was just hanging out at home, watching TV with a beer in hand, snacking on some lunch my wife had made for me. I was just taking it easy, doing nothing special. Then I stepped out onto the balcony to have a smoke. Nothing special, just my usual way of spending a day off. This is my idea of a perfect day. But that day, it was different. My wife doesn't smoke, and she always complains about the smell when I smoke indoors, so to avoid her complaints, I went out to the balcony. I was sitting in one of the chairs, just wearing a regular t-shirt and my old high school gym shorts, enjoying my cigarette. Then a police car suddenly pulled up in front of me. Huh? What's going on? As I was watching, the two police officers quickly got out of their car. Since I was on the first floor, they came right up to my balcony and stood in front of me, talking to me from the outside. The first police officer said, "You can't do that!" Huh? What? Me? My mind instantly went into a panic. I tried to think of anything that I might have done wrong, but nothing came to mind. Then the first police officer said, "That shirt! It's from that high school, right? High school students can't be smoking!" I was so surprised a weird, high-pitched voice came out. But I figured it was just a mix-up or misunderstanding, so I went inside to grab my wallet and showed my ID through the balcony railing. "I'm 28, I said, and the police officer stared at my driver's license closely and asked, "Is this really yours? Do you have a brother or something?" I thought, well, you can clearly see my face and I just showed you my license, which is a valid form of ID. What's going on? But still, I pulled out my health insurance card, and the police officer looked at it and said, "Isn't this your brother's card?" He wouldn't believe me and just kept questioning me without listening. I was so frustrated by all the suspicion that I ended up saying something stupid. "Wait a second, then who am I?" I blurted out, asking the police a ridiculous question. The officer responded, "All right, how about we head to the police station for now? I'll have the police car come around front, so can you come out to meet us?" What the hell? Why do I have to go to the police station on my long-awaited day off? I tried to resist as hard as I could, but the officer said, "If you keep acting like this, it's gonna look bad. We could even charge you with interference with public duties." He said it in a way that made it sound like he could make something out of nothing, trying to intimidate me. I figured I could reluctantly go to the police station, but at least I asked if I could change my clothes first. The officer responded, "That wouldn't be considered evidence, so no, you can't change your clothes." I was like, what? How is it that just wearing a high school gym uniform is somehow evidence? And I couldn't help but feel that the police were kind of unprofessional. In the end, I realized that arguing with the police any longer would just be a waste of time. Plus, if the other residents saw what was going on, it would only make things more complicated. So I figured I'd just prove I was 28, get it over with, and head home as quickly as possible. I got in the police car without hesitation. When we arrived at the station, I was surrounded by about 4 officers. They handed me a form, and the officer told me, "Fill this out." So I wrote down my address and other details while being watched by all 4 of them. Then they casually pulled out some kind of statement form for me to fill out like it was no big deal. While I stood there thinking, "Are you serious?" the second police officer said, "Just write down exactly what I tell you. I am a minor and..." Wait, hang on a second! I quickly put the pen down. I've already told you I'm 28, not a high school student. I tried to explain, but the officer just sighed and gave me an exasperated look. "Look, it's a problem for us if you keep lying," the first officer said. And then the third officer added, "Just hurry up and admit it! Write what you're supposed to!" So I pulled out my phone and called my wife, who was at work. "I'm at the police station. They think I'm a high school student. Help me!" I heard her shout,
What?
on the other end, and she showed up about 10 minutes later. Even her boss, who's as close with us as family, came along despite being at work. My wife started showing the police every photo and video of us together on her phone. Up until then, I'd always felt too embarrassed to take any couple photos with my wife, so I didn't have a single one on my own phone. Every time she'd try to snap a picture, I'd complain, "Another one? Women sure love to take a selfie." But this time I was genuinely grateful she had those photos. My wife's boss backed me up, sharing everything he knew about me, and finally they accepted my age. Then the first police officer, looking annoyed, said, "You really shouldn't do things that can lead to misunderstandings like this." That set my wife off, and she snapped,
My husband told you over and over that he wasn't a student, didn't he? Just because he's wearing his old high school gym shorts, you ignored his driver's license and insurance card and kept insisting he was a high schooler? Are you even real police officers? If those 2 forms of ID aren't enough, then please explain what would be.
Then 2 of the officers shot back, "We never said that!" "We never said that!" And another chimed in, "Yeah, acting defiant towards the police, who do you think you are?" I responded, "Then let's have a police chief look into this, shall we?" "What? What?" the police officers muttered in surprise. With that, I flagged down a nearby officer who wasn't involved in this at all and asked if he could bring a supervisor. Right then, the station chief happened to walk by, so I quickly explained the situation to him and pulled out my phone. "I had a bad feeling, so I've been recording the whole thing on my phone from the beginning," I said. When the 4 officers heard that, they turned pale. But with the police chief standing right there, they couldn't do anything to my phone, and they were sweating nervously. I then played the recording for the chief, starting from when I was on my balcony smoking and continuing with the interaction with the police. His face turned bright red and he yelled, "What the hell were you guys thinking? Apologize to this man right now! Get on your knees and beg for forgiveness!" The 4 officers immediately knelt down and apologized right there. The noise from the confrontation spilled outside, and soon enough a few other officers came over to see what was going on. Afterward, the police chief apologized to us again and promised that they would take proper action to make sure something like this never happened again. Then we were allowed to go home. Later, I found out that the four of them had been dealing with a lot of stress and frustration from being constantly told what to do by their higher-ups. It seems that they had been harassing others, including people who had no idea about it. Then, when this was eventually discovered, I heard they were fired in the form of a disciplinary dismissal. In my case, I had recordings, and my wife and others came to support me. But realistically, not many people would challenge the police, so I'm sure there were others who suffered from this unfair situation. Looking back, I honestly feel like they got what they deserved. It's a classic case of karma. Even though my wife and I are the same age, I always get mistaken for younger because of my baby face. She often complains, saying,
It's so unfair. Because of you, I always look like the older one. Do I really look that old? It's not true, right? You just look so young, and I feel like I'm losing out because of it.
But this time she said,
I'm really glad I look my age. I'd never have thought to record anything like you did. If I were you, I probably would have fallen into their trap and ended up getting caught by the police.
It's true that when people tell me I have a baby face, it doesn't bother me. In fact, sometimes it even feels like a benefit, but I never thought that same baby face would get me dragged into a police station. I was just casually playing a game on my phone while smoking a cigarette. But looking back now, I really feel like that's what saved me. I live as a family of 3 with my wife and daughter. One day my wife was out shopping and my daughter and I were watching a newly released movie at home. My daughter is 17 years old, but she's not rebellious or anything and still comes to watch a movie with her father. I might sound biased, but I think she's a great daughter. That day, I went to rent a movie that she always wanted to watch, and we promised that we'll watch it together. By the way, the reason why my wife didn't want to join us was because it was a horror movie. My wife hated horror movies, and she was a scaredy cat who would cover her face whenever a horror movie trailer played on TV. So when I told her that I'll be watching a horror movie with my daughter that day...
I'm going shopping, so make sure you finish watching it before I come home. Once you're done, don't forget to let me know.
Like that, she left the house. So my daughter and I were enjoying the horror movie, but my wife suddenly gave me a call. And both of us were surprised to hear my phone ring, but I answered the call. Then my wife said,
Get out of the house right now with our daughter and evacuate to your parents' house.
It was like a line from a movie, so I couldn't hold back my laugh, but she wasn't laughing at all. I realized this was serious, so I quickly stopped the movie and told my daughter that we'll be going out. Hannah, we have to stop watching the movie. We're going out.
Huh? We just started watching.
We'll watch the rest after we come back home. We're off to visit my parents.
Huh?
You don't have to get ready or anything, so let's just leave.
Okay. I'll just bring my phone and wallet.
Following my wife's orders, I took my daughter to my parents' house. Seeing us suddenly visit them. Why are you here all of a sudden? Is something wrong? He asked. I guess. Something happened, but I honestly don't know. Mary just told me to go visit you guys with our daughter. We suddenly visited them, but then it turned out that we didn't even know the reason ourselves, so obviously my parents were confused. Can you accompany Hannah for a bit? I'll go and call Mary. Oh, okay. My parents were confused, but they seemed genuinely happy to see their granddaughter.
Hannah, long time no see.
Yeah, how are you doing, Grandma? Grandpa?
Oh, we're doing great. By the way, Hannah, I remember you liked cookies. I bought some for Grandpa, so do you want to try them too? Yes, I'm in.
While my parents and daughter were having fun talking to each other, I contacted my wife to find out what was going on. It seemed like she was on her way here as well, so I decided to wait for her arrival.
Oh, phew. Looks like you're both safe.
What is going on? When I asked her, something unexpected came out of her mouth. It turns out that she had a problematic mom friend called Eve, and she was always struggling to deal with her. Then her son fell in love with our daughter and insisted that he'll marry her in the future. At first, my wife also thought it was a joke.
My daughter is not even that pretty.
She stayed humble and respectfully refused, but as her son's birthday approached,
Hey, how should we hold their wedding? My son said he wants a lot of children. Does your daughter want a baby girl or boy?
she said that, and my wife was really creeped out. After that happened, she distanced herself from her and didn't keep in touch with her. But it turns out today was her son's birthday, and she texted saying that she'll go pick our daughter up. Of course, my wife got mad and told her that she doesn't plan to give her our daughter and force her to marry her son. But Eve said to my wife,
There's no point in saying that. If he can get her pregnant, he can marry her easily.
she said something horrifying, so that's why my wife panicked and told us to escape. Kyle wasn't a small kid or anything, and he was already 18 with a body just as powerful as a full-grown adult. I was with our daughter, but just in case anything happened, she told us to leave the house, and that was the story. If we can escape to my parents' house, Eve didn't know the address, so my wife thought she'd never be able to find us, and that's why she told me to escape there. I see. I get the reason now. They're really crazy, huh?
Yeah, to protect Hannah. I had to tell you to leave. I'm sorry to surprise you.
No, you did the right thing. If I was in your shoes, I would have done the same, but what should we do now? Now Hannah's on summer break and she doesn't have to go to school, but maybe we should ask the police for help.
You're right. I don't want us to be a burden to your parents, but maybe it's best to have Hannah in their care for a while. And we'll go ask for help from the police.
While I was having this conversation with my wife, her phone suddenly rang. When she answered, we were taken by surprise. It was a call from the police saying that the crazy mother and son trespassed into our house. After hearing about that, my wife and I told Hannah about what was happening.
So, can you stay here for a while?
Of course, he's so disgusting. I can't believe he wants to marry me.
Our daughter quickly agreed. Well, Kyle had been acting like a stalker, so it's no surprise that she hated him. Once my parents also found out what was going on. You can leave Hannah to us.
It's fine. I'll take her to the movies and go shopping with her so that she wouldn't feel bored. Okay, Hannah? Yep.
Like that, we left our daughter in my parents' care and decided to go back home once to check on the situation before going to the police. When we got home, because we locked our front door, the windows were shattered, so I guess they trespassed from there. While we were checking on the house, the neighbors came out.
Oh, you're home. I saw someone who I've never seen visit your house, and then they suddenly broke in, shattering the windows, so I called the police.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling the police.
We're on our way to the police station to find out what happened.
Are you okay? I heard them talking about Hannah.
We'll fill in the details again later.
Be careful.
When we arrived at the police station, the police told us what happened. It looks like the crazy mother and son actually barged into our house after calling my wife. But because the front door was locked, they thought we were hiding our daughter from them. So they shattered the glass and went inside. It all happened after we left, so there wasn't anyone home, but they made a mess inside the house looking for our daughter. As soon as they spotted us in the police station...
Where is Hannah? Where did you hide her?
Give me back my bride! Then they attacked us, but because we were at the police station, they were quickly arrested. The police told us more in detail after that, but they really planned to rape our daughter, and they found sleeping pills and ropes in their bag. I turned very pale when I heard that. Even if they managed to come to us, I would never allow them to lay a single finger on her. But imagining the possibility of them raping her when I wasn't there with her made me horrified. So to be honest, we weren't sure if it was safe for our daughter to come back. But Eve's parents found out about the incident and they quickly took action. They traveled a long way to visit us. They were so close to committing a serious crime. We will responsibly take my daughter and grandson to a faraway place, so we beg for your forgiveness." They bowed their heads deeply. Since they didn't actually rape her, they wouldn't be put behind bars, which horrified us, so her parents' offer made us feel relieved. I told him that we'll feel safe if they're far enough not to harm our daughter, so I said we'd love it if he can do that. And shortly after, they were taken to her parents' house in the countryside. Right before they left, "I'm taking my bride with me!"
Yes, I have to grant my son's wish.
They said something like that, but not only her parents, but their relatives also came to help, and they pushed them inside the car and took the two with them. After that, Eve's parents paid us some money to compensate for the trouble, and they told us that they'll make the two help them with their agricultural business and supervise them strictly. It turns out that all their relatives live near the area, and they're being surveilled every day so they can never come back. I'm really glad that my daughter is safe. They weren't taken behind bars, but they now have a criminal record, and I hope from the bottom of my heart that I'll never have to see them again.
My name is Melinda. It's been 2 years since I married my kind and warm husband, Sam. When I was a student, some of my classmates bossed me around and bullied me, so I had a hard time. That's why I was worried at first whether I can have a nice marriage life. But thanks to my husband's cooperation, things are going well, fortunately. My husband had a day off after a long time, so we decided to go on a date. It felt like spring the other day, but summer was already around the corner. It was getting very hot outside. My husband and I were starting to sweat, so in search of cold drinks, we went to a nearby Starbucks. It was a hot day, so there were many people who thought the same as us. It was a weekend, so there was a long line at the entrance. We got into line and we were talking like, what should we order? The one we ordered the other day was nice. We were having a fun conversation. Then suddenly someone tapped on my shoulder and said, "Hey, you!" So I was surprised. Huh? When I turned around, I found a middle-aged woman with heavy makeup. She looked at least 10 years older than me. "What do you want?" To me, who had a confused expression, she ordered, "Go and buy our drinks for us. Here." She suddenly handed me a note. Huh? It was so confusing. When someone suddenly comes up to you while you're waiting in a long line at Starbucks, anyone would be taken by surprise. "Do you understand English? Are you a foreigner or just stupid? Just dumb, huh?" I really don't understand what you're saying. "I am telling you. I told you to go buy the drinks written on this note. Oh, you're so useless, just like what I heard about you." You heard about me? Who are you? To be honest, I really wanted to yell, "Who the hell are you?" On the note she forced me to see, there were many names of the drinks served at Starbucks. Extra whipped cream. I'm on a diet, so make it non-fat milk. It was very detailed. I got tired just by reading it. If you're on a diet, you better get no whipped cream. I yelled in my heart as if I was trying to escape reality. She was getting annoyed at me, who was reluctant to take the note from her. And when she was starting to make a fuss in a loud voice, another woman approached us with a knowing expression. "Oh, hi, Melinda. What are you doing? Why haven't you accepted the note? Hurry up." It was Riley, my classmate from middle and high school. "Huh? What are you saying?" She said to the middle-aged woman, leaving me confused. "I'm sorry. I'll make her buy us our drinks right away. You can go and rest, ma'am." She talked to her in a smile, but when she faced me, her expression was like a demon. "Hey, don't make me embarrassed in front of these people. Just hurry up and go buy these drinks. I'm here to enjoy some coffee with my senior mom friends right now." I really didn't understand. Why do I have to buy you and your seniors drinks? Huh? Do you not even have enough money to give out free drinks to your old classmate? As I got into a heated argument with her, I finally understood what was going on. Riley decided that she wanted to show off to her senior mom friends, so when she found me, who she used to boss around, she decided to treat me like a slave again. Before going to the bathroom, she said, "If you give orders to that woman over there called Melinda in an intimidating manner, she'll do whatever you want her to do." She was such a crazy woman. My husband, who had a calmer personality than me, seemed to finally understand the situation I was in.
You lack common sense. Please stop.
My husband warned Riley, but Riley was not the type to end there. Huh? Lack common sense? People who can't even buy drinks for her old classmate she hasn't seen for a long time lack more common sense, in my opinion. Oh, but Starbucks is expensive for a poor person like you. I bet you don't have the money to buy us drinks. Riley continued her rude behavior, and my husband calmly responded.
Are you stupid? We're in line at Starbucks right now. We obviously have enough money to buy a drink here. I work for A Corp, the large company. It's just that we don't want to buy drinks for you all. Right, darling?
My husband checked on me. I obviously nodded. You're not my bestie or anything. I guess you felt powerful coming here with your group of mom friends, but I can't believe how you suddenly start bossing people around who you haven't met for years. Riley's face turned bright red. I bet she feels like I humiliated her in front of her mom friends. You should know what'll happen if you're going against me. The person you refused to follow just now is actually the wife of a chief officer at the HR of A Corp. She's the leader of our mom friend group, and my husband also works at the HR of A Corp. Do you really want to make us mad? You won't be able to get a promotion. You might have to transfer to a branch in the countryside. At this point, she was threatening us. I was surprised that she was going this far. Come on, hurry up, just take the note and go buy us drinks. To apologize for taking our time, you better buy each of us a piece of cake, too, using your own money, obviously. But my husband and I didn't move. You're so lazy and stupid. You're already in line. The number of drinks you buy shouldn't be a big deal. Don't you understand that you'll get more penalties the more you make us wait? If you want to buy drinks so bad, get in line yourself and buy them with your own money. Everyone feels hot and everyone feels lazy to line up. It's not just you. But everyone waits for their turn properly without cutting in line. I was being logical, but Riley tried to fight back. Before she can do that. And look at everyone around you. With my words, Riley seemed to realize we were having an argument too loudly. The attention was all on us, and no one was on Riley's side. I could hear them saying, I can't believe her, and they're crazy old hags. Riley and her mom friends left the shop as if to run away. I am definitely going to get revenge on you one day and make you regret what you did. Riley left with those last words. The middle-aged woman who talked to me first, as well as the wife of the HR department chief, were also glaring at us. My husband and I were trying to comfort each other.
But it was surprising. I never thought you could talk back like that.
The same goes for you, Sam.
Of course I had to fight back when she treats my wife like that. I was able to do it because you were by my side.
Me too. I could talk back to that problematic Riley because you were by my side. It was my first time to talk back to Riley, who had a strong personality, so I felt very refreshed. If things ended here, it wasn't such a big problem. But Riley and that middle-aged woman thought we humiliated them, so they really started targeting Sam. They spread bad rumors about him at work and in town, trying to make him get a job transfer to the countryside. He told me what was going on with the dark expression, and because I was powerless to do anything, I asked for help from the leader of my mom friend group. Our leader was the wife of A Corp's vice president. My friend who lived in the same town was at Starbucks when it happened, so they had recorded a clip using their smartphone. They basically threatened us to the point that it wasn't just a funny joke anymore, and we had proof of that. The wife of the vice president quickly told her husband, the vice president of the company, about what happened. Actually, it turns out that the mom friend group led by the wife of HR department chief had been threatening people, and it was a pretty big problem. It was even brought up among the executive board, and the proof really helped. As a result, Riley's husband, as well as the HR department chief, received a very bad reputation. A few days later, Riley and her middle-aged friends came to apologize, even inviting the other mom friend group they supervised. All of them apologized to us. Melinda, please forgive me. If you can't forgive me, my husband will get a job transfer to the countryside. It serves you right, Riley. You're the one who started the argument and tried to get Sam transferred to a branch in the countryside. Then the wife of the HR department chief came begging for my forgiveness. Please, Melinda, it's all Riley's fault. I just went with the flow and accidentally treated you like a slave. My husband might get a divorce with me. He was planning to get a promotion from the HR department, but he's so mad at me now because his bosses dislike him.
You deserve it too. You spread false rumors about my husband and tried to prevent him from getting a promotion. Shortly after, I heard that Riley's husband and that middle-aged woman's husband were both sent to the countryside. Riley and that woman also accompanied them. It turns out that they had to move very far away where there weren't even any Starbucks nearby. My name is Kelly Morrison. I'm 24 years old and I'm a little bit shy and introverted. Ever since I was a little girl, I have loved drawing, and right now I'm living my dream working as an illustrator. I have a fiancé named Kevin that I met through my job as an illustrator, and my life was pretty steady. However, there was just one concern that I had, and that was this. I lived at home with my family. One day, when I was working remote from my own room, my mom aggressively slammed the door open.
Hey, Kelly, look at you, lazing about all day at home again, doing nothing to help the family.
My mom was yelling at me, but perhaps she couldn't see that I was sitting in front of the computer doing my illustrations, which was my full-time job.
Look at you just doodling like that and messing around. Stop doing that and you need to get a proper job.
Mom, I'm pretty sure I've explained this to you multiple times already, but this is my job. I'm working full-time.
Listen, that's not what a job is. A job is something where you go to a company and you put on a suit and you do real work. That's exactly what your father did, and that's what your big sister is doing too, isn't it?
I had a big sister named Rachel, and my mom loved Rachel, who was really good at putting on a good face. It's probably because Rachel was quite similar to her, how she was wild with her spending habits and how she was outgoing and had a lot of friends. Because I only had one sibling, my sister Rachel, there was quite a big difference in the way that my mother treated us.
I've been tolerating this for a year now, ever since your dad passed away. Hurry up and find a job or find a family to marry into and make yourself useful.
My father passed away 1 year ago. As for Rachel, she got married 2 years ago, and she moved out of the family house. So right now, I was living at the family home with just my mother. After yelling at me like this, my mother was about to leave my room when she turned around and gave me this order.
Oh, that reminds me. I want Western food for lunch today. Recently, all you make at home is Japanese food, and I'm getting pretty tired of it. And also, make sure you clean up the guest room. You better stop slacking just because we haven't had any guests recently. Either way, you're unemployed anyway, so you have more than enough time on your hands, right?
My mom barked at me, and then she disappeared from my room. Despite working full-time as an illustrator from home, I was doing all of the chores and taking care of everything in the house. And it wasn't just that. It's almost time to make the monthly payment for this home. This really gives me a headache. Dad's debt is too much. That's right, the debt that my father wasn't able to pay back while he was still alive was left to me. And I was paying it back little by little. But luckily, my work was quite steady, and if push comes to shove, I know that my fiancé Kevin would support me. I wasn't that worried financially, but it was a problem that would give me a headache every month because I would have to make a pretty expensive payment. And if my mom could at least be grateful that this was the life I was living every day, doing my best to support her, that would have been fine, but...
What the hell is this lazy lunch? I bet you just bought this meatloaf at the shops and you heated it up and that's all you did. And the salad you made is just cabbage. There is a limit to just how lazy one can be. I am letting you stay in this house when you're not even working. You should be grateful and make a proper meal when you have so much time on your hands.
It wasn't just that my mom was complaining a lot about this lunch in particular. My mom was actually like this every day, about everything. Up until this age, she had always been a full-time housewife, and she had also never had to worry about managing any finances. To put it nicely, you could say that she was a princess who married into a good family. However, if you say it more honestly, she's actually a complaining brat who doesn't know how the world works.
Why don't you just get an arranged marriage already? You're unemployed and you need to get out of this house as soon as possible.
I told you this before, but I am working as a designer, and I am engaged to somebody that I met online, and we've been dating for a long time now, and...
Oh, shut up! I can't believe you met somebody online through your doodling. When you don't even know their face, you can't trust them at all. Don't be stupid. You need to look at reality.
And as usual, she cut off the conversation, one-sided, and refused to listen to me.
Normally this would be the end of the conversation, but today was different.
This weekend your sister and your brother-in-law are coming home, so you better be home. There's an important conversation that we're going to have.
It was rare for my sister and her husband to come visit the family house. Rachel would always say things like,
"Oh, come on, Kelly, you're unemployed, so the least you can do is take care of Mom, but I'm not going to give you any help whatsoever."
And after she would say that, it was true. She really didn't do anything to help take care of our mom. And then that weekend, my big sister and her husband came to the family house. I had spent the whole afternoon cleaning, and my sister, my brother-in-law, and my mom sat down on the couch, while I had to sit on the floor, and they all sat there looking down at me.
"So, do you know what conversation we're about to have?"
My mom said that with a grin on her face. "No, I don't know." I answered honestly. That's because I really didn't have a clue.
"I warned you many times, didn't I, that I'm not going to let a lazy, bored parasite stay in this house, and that I've been tolerating it for a year now."
Like I said, that is, I tried to tell my mom that it was her misunderstanding. It's not like I was lazy or bored. I was actually paying back my dad's debt as well as providing for all of my mother's living expenses.
"You need to stop with the excuses. You've always just been holed up in your room like a little worm. You know what they call you, an unemployed loser."
My big sister chimed in. My brother-in-law was sitting there in silence, trying hard to hold in his laughter as he was watching our family commotion.
"Well then, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? You need to leave this house effective immediately."
My mom continued on with what my sister had started to say. Huh? But why? I was shocked, but then my mother remained calm and said,
"What do you mean, why? You should know that reason better than anybody. I have an eldest daughter who is married and a second daughter who doesn't work and is unmarried. Isn't it obvious? I don't need to say it out loud. It's clear who should be at home here at the family house."
"No, I don't understand at all. My sister was reckless with her money spending, and I don't hear any good rumors about my brother-in-law either. And I don't think that those two would be able to come to this house that was full of debt and even look after my mother. Honestly, this is what my mom said."
"This has already been decided, and you don't have any right to say anything back to us."
"That's right, so you can just leave everything to me as the eldest daughter of the family, and you can just hurry up and gather up your belongings and get out of this house."
My sister added on to that, and then my brother-in-law finally spoke.
"This is a nice house, isn't it? It's still pretty new, and it's so clean."
And as if he was trying to place value on it, he was looking around the room and admiring the house that I had just cleaned. Looking at the three of them, I felt something snap inside of me. Well then, is that so? Either way, I was planning on moving out of this house once I got married to my fiancé, but I didn't think that after I had worked so hard to look after my mother and I was paying off the family debt for them, that they would kick me out so harshly like this. I knew my family, but I didn't think that they were this terrible.
"I'm going to be taking this house, so you can get out now, and Mom has already agreed, so this house is all mine now."
"What? Are you sure?" Since she was saying the house is all hers, that would also include the extremely high debt. Because I had been paying it back, it had gone down a couple $1,000s, but even still, there were tens of thousands of dollars left. So I decided to hurry up and get up and leave.
"My goodness, how pathetic. I can't believe I have a daughter like this."
"Mom, don't worry. From now on, my husband and I are going to look after you. Everything's going to be so much better."
I could hear that my family was saying this on purpose, and it was so stupid that I was over it from the bottom of my heart. I was suddenly kicked out of my house by my mother and sister, but I immediately moved out and moved in with my fiancé in his apartment. Unlike my mother, who was always complaining about my cooking, Kevin was really kind. It had been a long time since I was able to relax like this, and I was truly happy. I was fully enjoying the freedom in my newfound life, but then about 1 month later, out of nowhere, I received a phone call from my sister.
"Hey, you! What the hell is this? What is this debt? It's an insane amount, too. That idiot dad. How many places was he borrowing money from?"
"You're only just now realizing this?"
"This debt is fake, isn't it? Otherwise, there's no way that an unemployed loser like you would have been able to survive and live here with Mom."
"No, obviously it's real. And if you don't pay back that debt, you're going to get kicked out of that house as well."
I've been paying back that debt every month up until now, but I'm pretty sure there's about $80,000 left on it, right? What do you mean? You're an unemployed loser. How on earth were you able to pay off such a large amount of money every month? I explained this to you and Mom multiple times, but I work remotely. I'm a full-time illustrator, and that's how I met my fiancé as well, and we're planning on getting married soon. I could tell my sister was at a loss for words, so I continued on. Plus, I already know that you were struggling for money because you are so reckless with your spending. And that's why you were trying to go after the inheritance. If you moved back home, you wouldn't have to pay rent anymore, and if you make Mom do all the chores, then you would kill 2 birds with 1 stone, or maybe even 3 birds. But either way, looks like you miscalculated and don't even have the stone to begin with. The only thing that's there at that house is a debt, and also Mom, who's only getting older. Are you kidding me? You need to pay off this debt. What? But why? You're the one who said you were going to look after Mom and take the house, as the eldest daughter of the family, right? And plus, you're the one that declared that everything in that house is all yours, which means that includes the debt, doesn't it? Ugh! You quit your job when you got married, so you're not working right now anyway, right? So why don't you start working along with your husband, and if you also do your best with the chores, I'm sure you'll barely be able to get by. I mean, you still have the house, and you don't have to pay rent. Even if I don't have to pay rent, there's the monthly payments on the loan. At this rate, my plan is completely ruined. If I didn't come back to this house, then I wouldn't be losing so much money. My ears were ringing. So I just said goodbye and I hung up the phone. But a few days later, my mom and my sister and her husband barged into my apartment. "You're welcome. I'm going to do you a favor and let you come back to the house. You should be happy." "That's right. I'm sure you're happy to be able to live with Mom, aren't you?" My mom and sister tried to say this, but I simply replied, "Nope, not at all. And plus, I have no intention of going back." That was all I said, and I kicked them out. A few months later, in the end, my mom, sister, and her husband weren't able to pay off the debt, and they had to give up the family house. However, that wasn't enough to pay off all of the loans. They had to move into a rundown apartment, and I heard that everybody is having to work multiple jobs in order to pay back the debt.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.